First, as we prepare for our libation, let us just take stock of this cosmic moment where the sun has reached its deepest descent in the sky, in this winter solstice. And our African ancestors knew the correspondence with the summer solstice, because it is in this moment we have the greatest, the longest night, the lengthening of darkness, before we make this shift into greater light. And Sol is the sun, and Stis is trice, or like this 3-day period, this winter solstice, this shifting over this 3-day period, where we then move again as the sun begins to make its reascent in the sky. And for our African ancestors, here we have in the winter solstice, we have the greatest darkness, and the opposite solstice, the summer solstice, was the greatest of drought. And for our African ancestors, drought and darkness were synonymous. They were those phases that we look to make that shift. So let us just take note of this cosmic moment we are in, because the Kemites, the Cometians, we know they pattern their lives after the passage of the sun. And in that passage, now we are moving like the sun, from this seeming death and this darkness into a rebirthing, into a resurrection. And our African ancestors teach that we are the ever coming ones, that we are the Urjet Nehehe, that we do not die, that our African ancestors didn't subscribe to a fixity in this cross, but a crossing over and into life, in greater life. And so let us move through the tomb into the womb to be reborn again. Imhotep initiates. What a glorious moment we are in. And welcome to the KaAbBa Building the Lighted Temple class and our winter solstice celebration and ritual. I want to begin this evening by just saying greetings to each and every one of you. Imhotep, Linda, glorious grand rising. You can just hear your voice.
Hotep.
Hotep, Linda. Sure. And Kathy, glorious grand rising to you.
Hotep.
Hotep. And Horace, glorious grand rising to you.
Grand rising to you, Dr. Nelson, and grand rising to all.
And Martha, grand rising. Hotep. Can you hear us, Martha?
A little on my computer.
I can hear you.
So I can hear you in spurts. So I'll do the best I can.
Okay, we can hear you. Okay. And Diane, glorious grand rising to you.
Hotep, And grand rising to you and everyone, Dr. Nteri.
And Hotep and grand rising to you, Keisha.
Hotep and grand rising to you, Dr. Nteri, and everybody else.
And
what is being said.
Hotep Rosangela, grand rising to you.
Yeah.
What happy Dr. Nteri and everyone. Grand rising to our vice.
Yes, yes, Ikur. All right. And Hotep and grand rising to you, Tim.
What's up, Grand Rising?
And Hotep and grand rising to you, Nikki.
Hotep and grand rising to you, Dr. Nteri, and to everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. I'm very excited.
Ikur, excellent. Hotep and grand rising to you, Doug.
Hotep, everybody.
Hotep.
Hotep.
And Hotep and grand rising to you, Rosalind.
Okay.
I'm not getting a response.
No, yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear
Hotep
me?
and- Yes, Hotep
Okay,
and grand
good.
rising.
Okay, you see? Oh, but-
Yes, oh, wow, yes,
You see
wow,
me?
you
Okay, so
you have
yes,
your
Hotep
royal
and
crown
grand-
on.
Hotep and grand rising to you. I'm having a hard time hearing what you're saying. I can't make out what you're saying.
Okay, it may be on your end. I think everybody else can hear me, but I just said Hotep and grand rising. All right, and Nora is with us virtually. We have a recording with her. All right, so let's begin. And what I want to do now is begin by sharing my screen with you. This is the first time we've done this virtually. And, you know, in our brick and mortar space, we provide the candles, the cake, you know, all of these things. And so it was like remembering to ask you to have them at your side where you are virtually. So here we go. All right. Now, I want to just start with, I'll go through an outline of what we're doing today. So everybody knows we're just going to do a little rehearsal, and this will give us the view of what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to start with just showing some PowerPoint of the ritual itself as we have gone through it. Well, show some pictures. And then we'll begin with Nora, I'll play her video, and she'll start with an introduction. And that will be followed by Rosangela doing a libation. And then we will begin our recitation before the Eastern altar, as we then enter the Hall of Amenta. So we will face east and enter into the Hall of Amenta at the Eastern altar. And we will do our recitation, and then left shoulder back, we will then precess to the Western altar, where we'll do our recitation before the scales. We'll recite the 42 laws of Maat. And then one by one, each initiate will come before the scale and receive their lotus petal, which you have now in the form of your rose that you have right there with you. I'll hold that up. I don't know if you probably can't see me doing this, what I'm doing right now, but just one petal, because this symbolizes the soul, and you'll hold that. And your recitation will be in two parts. In the first part, you'll reflect upon, in this slide, What do you now carry into the underworld that will aid or hinder your passage? What must be released or shed or die that you may be born again? And what law of Maat are you most in need of mastery in and utilization of at this time? So you'll just do those two parts. And then later, when we're facing the northern altar, you'll do your pledge, which will be the second part. Okay, so this is when you'll come forward and you'll begin within the pledge of fulfilling my earth service, I, Haru, and you'll say your name, do pledge, and then you'll say what your pledge is. And hopefully everybody has everything written out and ready and, you know, just succinct, but succinct and full. And then, so going back here, so one by one, you'll say those first two parts, what aids or hinders you as you go to the next altar, and what law of Ma'at are you working with to gain mastery in that will most aid you in this time. And then I will, as everyone completes that, then I'm just going to show the postures, the ritual postures as each initiate comes forth. So you'll see the ritual postures one by one, and in your either right where you are or in your imagination, you'll move through those postures, and then you will emerge from to the eastern altar, and you'll light a white candle. So you should have your candle present with you. When that is complete, we will then precess to the northern altar, and we'll have Nora speak again here, and everyone will say what their pledge is. Rosangela will do the closing in regard to saying her pledge and closing, and then Nora will end with two songs here that she will sing for us. All right. Now, these are the postures here, beloveds, and if you have questions, please ask. But your posture is the mummy posture with arms crossed over your chest. You'll be in the triple or trice bent position as you enter into the tomb. And then you'll be gazing upward, looking north as you're still in the tomb. You will roll over into, so you're in that death pose, in that death posture. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But you're then rolling over on your back. As you do so, you're looking north, and you are rolling into that KaAbBa, which is the birthing posture, which is the kneeling down with your head bowed and your forehead touching the ground. Then you rise on one knee to your Ma'at posture with arms out straight, shoulder height. Then you raise into your Ka posture with arms overhead, and then you bow. You do your Osirian bow, which is the posture where your arms are crossed over your chest and in bowing. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like here. So let's just go here. So just in your own imagination, just be in our brick and mortar space where we have enacted this ritual over the decades, up close and personal. So we're doing this in a different mode. I saw one of our beautiful drummers, Tony, who's, this is a class here. And just like we are doing our rehearsal and preparation, they too are now preparing. We would circumambulate the room. We would go before the altars. We would do our libation and African dancing, just calling upon the ancestors. So we're doing this virtually and in using our imagination. So it's the most glorious moment that in which we have arrived. And so just behold the power of tapping into our primal wisdom and feel yourself in this group conscious effort and space where we've come together in this sacred time for this observation of this cosmic event that's happening in the sky. And we would have done our preparation. We do our smudging, we anoint the first eye. We have oils from Kemet where we would anoint the first eye so that you may see clearly and have great clarity. And the smudging, the cleansing of the aura, all taking place now together and as one. And then we pour our libation. So this will be Rosangela shortly. And we would do our precession 7 times ambulating around the room. And then we would stop here at the Eastern altar to begin we would have our reading of the Pertimbru, which is those red books that you saw. I will put up the Pertimbru so we may read. And you want to mute yourself. Everyone should be muted because we've tried reading together and instead of having that symphony, we had more of a cacophony virtually. So you want to keep yourself muted at all times unless you are speaking or you have a question that we just need to address, okay? And here we are so facing east in our recitation. Then we would turn left shoulder back and precess to the Western altar. I should have gotten my little pointer here. Let me see here, my little, if anybody has any difficulty seeing where I'm at or has a question, you can ask it now. But see, we're facing east here, and then we turn left shoulder. This is the left shoulder back, and then we precess to the west. This is going in this direction. Then we would go to the south here as we, from the west, we're going into the tomb and the womb of rebirth. And then we finally will face north over here. Okay, so east, west, south, north. All right. I'm letting someone in here. Who is that? Let's see. Someone needs admitting. I hear them. All right. So, all right. And so here we're reading. All right. I'll have to let someone in a minute because I'll have to leave the screen if I do so. So then you come up to the scale and you would have your lotus. You would take your lotus petal. One by one. And of course, we're going to do this, even though it's one by one, we will do this simultaneously. So everyone is doing this at the same time, coming up to the scale and taking their lotus. And this is the triple bent position. Our first position, we are coming into the amenta. This area is blackened with a cloth, and we are laying down the triple bent with arms crossed, the death pose, or the thrice bent pose. Then we are rolling over, but before we do, we are looking north. So we look, the head goes back and we look north, and then we roll here. So we just move from the tomb into the womb, now into the KaAbBa pose, the birth posture, posture of rebirth, where our head is bowed down and in this KaAbBa pose. Then we rise to one knee in preparation for our Maat pose. Then we rise into our Ka posture, Ka spirit. Just multiple examples of this. And then we end by our Assyrian bow. Right? And then, of course, we're in our celebration. All right. All right. So there we are, beloveds. There we are. And it's a glorious occasion that we are in. All right. So when we actually do this, I'm going to, after each one of us has said what would aid or hinder us at this time, what would need to be released, what law we are working with. Once everyone has said that, then we will enter in. And I'm going to show just one slide each of the postures. And so together and as one, you will hold as we watch each movement. And then I will say from the Pertim Ru, I will say Haru, and I will call you by name. Haru, Linda, does not die. She is reborn into eternal life. And I'll call each, and when I do that, light your candle. And then I'll call Haru, Tim does not die. He is born into everlasting life, and so forth and so on. And then when we conclude that, then we'll all be ready to process to the northern altar to do your pledges. All right. All right. So no worries. It'll all work out just fine. Okay. Is everybody, and let's see. Oh, here's Salim. Okay. He wanted to come. All right, so this is Baba Haru. This is the co-founder of the Academy. So this is our son with my husband who's in the hospital. And so they're together, we're all together. And I know my husband is there sending everyone his heartfelt praise and commending each and every one of you in the work that you are doing in class and tonight. All right, now are there any questions that anyone needs to ask before we begin? Everybody's good? All right, so then here we go.
I'm so thankful to be able to join you all on this day. Every now moment, we're together. I may be in Jamaica, but in spirit, I'm with you right now. And so I give thanks, deepest thanks and appreciation to our divine holy creator that animates us all things. And to all of our ancestors, those we know, we don't know.
Can everybody hear?
The ancients of ancients, we give thanks.
Can someone say yes?
And appreciation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we are
Yeah.
here as legacies. And so I'm going to do my part. And I am filled. And I'm so grateful to share this time with all of you, those who were in class together when we first started, with the beloved Dr. Nteri and Barbara Lester and all the elders involved in the Academy of Comedic Education and Wellness. I honor each and every one, and those of you that are now taking this beautiful enrichment back into oneness with our divine vibration and frequency. I honor you as well. 2004-5, I think it was. I started with Dr. Nelson and Baba Nelson, as well as Sister Paula and Andrea and others, and beautiful, all the beautiful other brothers and sisters that were there. And look, here it is. Here I am, I say. Thank you. Still, growing and learning. So I encourage you, each one of you that are here, taking that leap, that spiritual leap, back into remembrance. That it's a journey of beauty and growth, and yes, challenge. That's the way it is here, right? And that's how we grow, become strong. Yes. And serve our divine purpose, and use our voice. Each one of us, very important that we use our voices, right? And so, as I looked at the preparation, because I don't want it to be too lengthy, but all in divine timing, divine order, I do just want to hold up my petal, my rose petal, and know that I have it, close to my heart. I'm going to hold it, okay? I'm going to hold it as I prepare, to step forward and to embrace this winter solstice and all of the energy that it brings to each one of us. And in meditation and reflection, certainly, I was thinking of all the challenges that we've been going through individually, and collectively, as you all know, during these times where we have we've been given the opportunity to kind of step back, and reflect. And I'm in the back. I'm in the backyard on the deck, because I wanted to do this outside, and be close to nature. And as you can see, there's the green tree that stays green, right? And then there's a tree in the background whose leaves have fallen, and so it just puts me in mind of, that we have, one end, and everything changes, and that's a beautiful thing. So in terms of remembrance, though, I thought about this, that if we try to remember when life was so tender and love was young and oh so mellow, and try to remember a time in September or any time that we were in love with life. Try to remember, and when we remember, let us follow, 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 and try to remember. And that's what I feel that I personally do, and I hope you do too, as you continue on in this course, to remember putting those members back, who we truly are, that purest, precious love that we each are and that we are here to reflect, right, of the divine. So anyway, so as I was meditating
All right, so we will come back to Nora, but first, as we prepare for our libation, let us just take stock of this cosmic moment where the sun has reached its deepest descent in the sky in this winter solstice. And our African ancestors knew the correspondence with the summer solstice because it is in this moment we have the greatest, the longest night, the lengthening of darkness before we make this shift into greater light. And Sol is the sun in Stis is Trice, or like this 3-day period, this winter solstice, this shifting over this 3-day period where we then move again as the sun begins to make its reascent in the sky. And for our African ancestors, here we have in the winter solstice, we have the greatest darkness, and the opposite solstice, the summer solstice, was the greatest of drought. And for our African ancestors, drought and darkness were synonymous. They were those phases that we look to make that shift. So let us just take note of this cosmic moment we are in, because the Kemites, the Cometians, we know they pattern their lives after the passage of the sun. And in that passage, now we are moving like the sun from this seeming death and this darkness into a rebirthing, into a resurrection. And our African ancestors teach that we are the ever coming ones, that we are the Urjet Nehehe, that we do not die, that our African ancestors didn't subscribe to a fixity in this cross, but a crossing over and into life in greater life. And so let us move through the tomb into the womb to be reborn again. And Rosangela, I'm going to put that slide up that you may want up if in terms of orienting our direction as you do your libation. Our initiate, Rosangela, will come forth now.
Okay. I invited everyone to, if it's possible, stand up and I have here with me water. That is a symbol of the element that symbolizes the memory of our sex, the memory to remember what we are and who we are. And I have a plant here representing the nature. And after each invocation, I invited everyone to say Ashe, as we say this is it. So be it. We know it is. And we're gonna invoke now, Dr. Nteri, can I start you with
Yes.
Okay. So I invited at this beginning, we are gonna claim, we are gonna invoke and invited our ancestors to this place to honor them, to remember their names. And let's begin, close our eyes and start breathe, pay attention in our breath. Through our breath, we can connect it with them. We can communicate with them through our breath. It's only one breath, the first breath in the earth. And that breath is from our ancestors. So let's close our eyes and deep together. We're gonna inhale to our nose. As we inhale to our nose, our lower abdomen expands, and we inhale together in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we pause and feel the power of the breath. And very slowly together, we exhale through our nose and feel our lower abdomen contracting. Very slow. And with this breath, we're gonna invoke the Neteru, the nature, the forces that command our existence in this earth. We're gonna call the name, and if anyone wants to call their own Neteru, their own Neter, that the ones that we need in this moment, we need their power, we need the guidance, please feel free. I invoke Amen, Amen Ra, to be present within us and guide us and protect us for any enemy. Ashe. I invoke the name of Ausa, the name of Heru, the name of Auset, the Trinity of our legacy. Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen Ra. KaAbBa. Amen Ra. Heru. Amen Ra. KaAbBa. Amen Ra. Ausa. Amen Ra. KaAbBa. Amen Ra. Auseti. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Let's bring it to this moment, our ancestors, the first ones who habitate the earth, the motherland, Africa, the ones who gave us the notion of nature, the notion of spirituality, the ones who brought it to us the mathematics, the medicine, the astronomy, the architecture, agriculture, all the contributions for the modern world come from our ancestors. Our DNA, our memory are from these minds. Let's bring it to this moment, the power to regain and reclaim these minds into our community, into our children, into our elders so we can reclaim who we are and create a new reality for ourselves. For all the ancestors who gave us all the contribution, we say Ashe. We thank them, and we have the responsibility to recreate it, to regain our potentiality to be and continue the work that they started to do. And for all those ancestors, we say Ashe. Imhotep, Ashe. Joseph, Ashe. Anyone wants to call any name of our ancestors from the Happy Valley? Kush,
Kingdom.
Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
You may unmute yourself to call upon the ancestors. King Namur,
Ashe.
Queen Hatshepsut,
Ashe.
Imhotep,
Ashe.
Virginia and Mary and Ernestine.
Ashe.
Ashe.
40 Grand Frederick.
Ashe.
all ancestors known and unknown. Ashe.
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 Jassy and Annette.
St. Peter's.
Ashe. Dolores Alino, Lawrence,
Ashe.
Addie Norwood. Ashe.
Ashe. And for
Ashe
those
Frederick.
ancestors, I'm sorry, Ashe.
Alice and
Ashe. And for those ancestors with the great mind that were exposed to Ma'afa, the worst disaster in humanity. For
Ashe.
those who went through Ma'afa, who lost their blood, but it is kept the mind and the identity, the African identity. Let's make a few seconds of silence. Remember the pain. Remember the suffering that our ancestors went through Ma'afa. Zumbi dos Palmares, Axé. Dandara dos Palmares, Axé. Harriet Tubman, Axé.
George James, Ashe.
Axé.
Newton Sewell.
Axé.
Ekanta Diop,
Axé.
John Henry Clark,
Axé.
Denmark VC.
Axé.
Dr. Benjo Hakkinen.
Axé.
Ashe.
Axé. And for all the ancestors who went to brought back our history, so we never forget who we are and where we come from. All the closer ancestors to us, our lineage, our families, our friends, our teachers, the ones who helped us to become who we are. So we know they are not dead. We know their spirit will live through us. Ma'akeru, our voices of the truth of voice. For all of them who had this journey with us, we say Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
Jerônimo Natalino, Ashe. Whoever wants to call their families or friends or teachers in this moment, please feel free.
Sheikh Anthony.
Ashe.
Alfred Hawkson,
Ashe.
Thelma Lewis,
Ashe.
Kofi Archer.
Lagong,
Ashe.
Ivan Van Sertima.
Ashe.
Shay,
Ashe, 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 for all the voices. Ma'akeru, Ma'akeru, Ma'akeru. For all the elements of the nature, the water, the earth, the fire, the sun, the air. For all the directions, east, south, west, north, above, below, and the center. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. So
Ashe.
be it. So all in one voice, let us say, Ashe, we know. Ashe, we are. All together, Ashe,
Ashe,
Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
No. I say we are. I say.
Beautiful, Likur, Nefer, beautiful. Dua'u, Rosangela, Dua'u.
Dua.
All right, now we're going to move. We precess to the eastern altar. And we begin our recitation of chapter 26, the chapter of giving a heart unto Osir in the underworld. And the sign of the Ankh is made upon the group. At the eastern altar, the initiate group says, and you may recite this on mute where you are, together and as one. Left foot first, taking a deep breath in our recitation. May my heart be with me in the house of hearts. May my heart be with me, and may it rest in me, or I shall not eat of the cakes of Osir on the eastern side of the lake of flowers. Neither shall I have a boat wherein to go down the Nile, and another wherein to go up. Nor shall I go forward in the boat with you. May my mouth be given unto me, that I may speak with it, and my 2 feet to walk with, and my 2 hands and arms to overthrow my foe. May the doors of heaven be opened unto me. May Geb, Prince of the gods, open wide his 2 jaws unto me. May he open my 2 eyes, which are bound together, and may Anubis make my legs firm, that I may stand upon them. May the goddess Sekhet make me to rise, so that I may ascend unto heaven, and there may that be done which I command in the house of the KaAbBa. I know my heart. I have gotten the mastery over my heart. I have gotten mastery over my 2 hands and arms. I have gotten the mastery over my feet. And I have gained the power to do whatsoever my Ka pleases. My soul shall not be shut off from my body at the gates of the underworld, but I shall enter in peace, and I shall come forth in peace. Left shoulder back. The group moves to the Western altar for the recitation of the 42 laws of Maat. Standing before the scales of Maat, your heart on one side, being weighed in the balance against the lightness of the feather of Maat. Together in as one, let us recite the 42 declarations of innocence, the admonitions of Maat. And I want to have Andrea, can you unmute yourself and do these first 10? Nora, could you be next to do the next 10? Horace, could you do the next 10? And Tim, could you do the last 12?
I have not done inequity. I have not acted with violence to anyone or anything. I have not robbed with violence. I have done no murder. I have done no harm. I have not defrauded the temple offerings. I have not diminished obligations. I have not plundered the nectar. I have not spoken lies. I have not snatched away food. I have not caused pain.
Beautiful, Ikur. Next.
I have not abused my sexuality. I have not caused the shedding of tears. I have not dealt deceitfully. I have not transgressed or angered God. I have not acted guilefully. I have not laid waste the plowed land. I have not borne false witness. I have not set my lips in motion against anyone. I have not been angry and wrathful, except for a just cause.
I have not committed adultery. I have not lusted, nor committed fornication. I have not polluted myself. I have not caused terror. I have not spoken evil. I have not burned with rage. I have not stopped my ears against the words of right and truth, Maat. I have not worked grief. I have not acted with insolence. I have not stirred up strife. I have not judged hastily.
I have not been improper or pried into matters to make mischief. I have not multiplied my words exceedingly. I have not done harm nor ill. I have not dishonored the ancestors. I have not fouled or wasted the water. I have not spoken scornfully. I have not cursed the netter. I have not polluted the earth. I have not defrauded the offerings of the Netaru. I have not plundered the offerings of the blessed dead. I have not mistreated children. I have not mistreated animals.
Occur. Excellent. So now, beloveds, we'll start with Nora, who coming forth speaks to what her awareness says would hinder or aid her in this passage.
What do I now carry into the underworld, right, that will aid or hinder my passage? And what must be released, shed, die, to be born again, to feel new again, refreshed, right, and revitalized. So for me, I'm going to deal with what aids me. What will aid me is being using tools that will assist me. Tools, for example, study. That's one of the reasons I am here, because it will aid me as I go into the underworld coming forth, to be renewed. It will elevate me. It will put me again in remembrance and in oneness with that vibration, of the author self, the truer self. And so my study, my meditation, taking that time, to just go into the uppercase darkness and just listen and go to the elevated breaths, just breathing and remembering the oneness that this temple, this body of mine, is a vehicle. It's an instrument for me to reflect. So the other thing I know that will help me is seeking out and listening to what will assist me to be the healthiest in a whole way, spirit, my mind, because sometimes my mind, it just, it's just here, that kind of thing's like, whoa, come back. And in my emotions, I recognize, being empathic and compassionate sometimes, you sometimes give out a lot, and then all of a sudden you're feeling, whoa, I'm feeling a little, okay. So that's going to help, just being aware of what is going to help me to be the healthiest, like I said, in spirit, mind, emotions, and in my body. So, looking toward, what am I putting in? What am I ingesting, in my spirit, my mind, my emotions, and my body? And I need a little bit more help with the body. Okay. In terms of, what I feed it and what liquids I put in and that kind of thing, to assist the vehicle. So hindering the passage is, again, not taking that time, making that time, to listen, to meditate and listen to the divine, to slow down and take some time and be more aware of what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, what I'm thinking about, how the words that I'm using, are they elevating my energy and the energy of anyone that might receive it? And just in terms of self-care, that's what I want to say. When I don't pay attention to my self-care, then that can be a hindrance. that can be a hindrance for me, and I know I really need to work on that, and I'm giving thanks to the divine to help me. One of the reasons too that that I'm going to enjoy being in Jamaica, you know, when we leave, you know, is I'm going to concentrate on self-care. It's going to be a vacation with some family and friends, but a retreat, where I reconnect with the divine in me, you know, and recalibrate so that I can renew, and just regenerate. so so those are the things. And again, there are those challenges, and each of us has our own set of challenges that we're working through, right? And so it put me to mind of this, because I know that there are times in our lives when the wheels just seem to turn, and uncertainties about our tomorrow seem to grow. One thing God wants us to remember, and hopes we will always know, that out of everyone who loves us, God loves us the most, and is just a prayer away. Let us call God's name with our hearts, and God will hear every word that we say, those words. And when we cry at night, and sometimes we'll cry, God will wipe our tears away. Just pray, and we'll say, and still I rise, we rise, never to give up, never to give in against all odds. Yes, we rise high above the clouds, and that's where we go. We go to the divine, to the star. We go up high. We elevate. All right, and this is part of the elevation for me. Doing what we're doing. You know, reflecting, and so I also looked at what law of Maat, when I did that I'm most in need of mastery in and utilization of at this time. I went to law number 6 for me, which has to do with obligation. I will not diminish obligation. And when I thought about that, sisters and brothers, when I thought about that, I thought about, you know, obligation in the sense of an agreement. And of course, divine. What divine agreement? What divine contract? What divine purpose is it that I must hold on to, reach up and bring in more fully? And in the deepest of gratitude, to serve, right? To serve. And self-love, self-care stood out to me. So I'm obligated. This is what I said to myself. No, you are obligated as a reflection of the divine to take better care of yourself. And I have to, like I say, admit, that there are times when it's like give out, and then I wonder why I'm depleted, or, those kinds of things. And some of the things that I already mentioned as it relates to what I bring into my being, what I bring into the soma, into this body, that I embraced, to have. So I might say, oh, well, you got a little bit too much weight on you, or you this and then that. I'm saying I am going to work harder on that, in using all of my instrument, in the fullest way. Okay, so that's my law that I chose.
Okay, so we heard from Nora. And so now it's time for each of us to come forward and say what what must be released, what would aid or hinder the passage. So I'll go next. Mine is very brief. Nora and Rosangela are teaching initiates, advanced initiates and teaching assistants. So they had a little longer piece in that regard. Mine is brief. So as I stand before the scales with my lotus petal, what will aid and me is to be more appreciative, to have more appreciation, to have more gratitude. And this stands out for me at this time, how important it is to count how grateful I am in the face of some seeming loss. And as I experience seeming loss, I must work a little harder to keep account of all that I'm grateful for. And this gratitude and appreciation aids where the burden of loss could hinder. So therefore, I practice more appreciation and gratitude at this time. And like Nora, my law of Maat is that I need to be in greater utilization of at this time is to be able to affirm assuredly that I have not diminished obligations. And, as we journey along, we find ourselves with obligations that we chose, and then we find ourselves having to be steadfast in obligations that we are given along the way, that we must uphold our duty in. So that is my admission as I stand before the scales. So next, who would like to go next? Should we just go across here with Linda?
Yeah. Okay, as I stand before the scale with my petal, what do I now carry into the underworld that will aid or hinder me on my passage? Well, I'll start with the negative. I need to get rid of sometimes I do this, I doubt and have a lot of doubt, not a lot, doubt myself or have fear sometimes when I start new things or negative thoughts come into my mind when things happen. So I want to kind of get rid of thinking negative all the time about things. Like, this is not going to work. Oh, why should I do that? So that's what I'm trying to work on to get rid of. And also what will aid me would be that the knowledge that I'm getting right now helps me to understand why I might be feeling negative and sort of doubtful in the past, what caused that. So that really helps me to kind of keep pushing forward. So that's what I think that would be. And what law of Maat that I need in most need of mastery or utilization at this time. I think that would be the law 22, which is about will not pollute myself. And I'm thinking as far as eating the wrong foods, that's what I interpret it as. And also maybe what I read or what I watch or saying things I might say to someone or watching TV that's maybe gross or something, not very positive, not good for my psychic. And that's all I can think of right now. So.
Dua, oh, beautiful, Linda. Iker, Iker. Dua, dua, oh. And Kathy.
What might aid me would be being understanding, forgiving. What may hinder me is being able to release all past hurts. And the law of Maat that I'm in need of most mastery is number 30. Is not to judge hastily. That's about it.
Dua, oh, Kathy. Iker, beautiful. Nefer, beautiful. Dua, oh. And Horace.
What do I now carry into the underworld that will aid or hinder my passage? I hope that I can bring into the underworld my desire to remember who I am and to how I continue to work diligently for the upliftment of my consciousness. And what might hinder me would be my wrathful thoughts. At times may hinder my passage in the underworld. Although my wrath and anger sometimes is aimed at those who do iniquities towards me, but I sometimes am not able to control my emotions in a way that would be more divinely inspired in dealing with others who mistreat me. So I think that would help me to aid by passage before the scales. And the law of Maat that I am most in need of mastery would be, and utilization of this time would be number 19. That I have not been angry and wrathful except for a just cause. Even though a lot of times I do become angry or wrathful because of an unjust cause. But I think that that number 19 is the law that I should be more aware of. I think I hope that covers.
Yes. Iker, Dua'u, Horace, Dua'u, Nefer, Dua'u. Thank you.